This is Stock Talk, a discussion of stocks in the news with the analysts of Zacks.com. Well, if you've been following the news lately, no doubt you have heard about the hacking scandal that continues to plague shares of News Corp. And so now that news has been out there for a while and it's been impacting the stock of News Corp, naturally we decided to get our crack team of stock strategists on the case to take a look at News Corp stock this time around and see just how it's doing. Those two crack strategists are Tracy Reinick and Mike Vodicka, who join us here on Stock Talk all the time to help us dig into these different companies that we talk about. Mike, I think that we're going to start with you this time. What did News Corp look like from a momentum perspective prior to the news breaking?
Sure. For the most part, News Corp had been trading in line with the market. It had seen some pretty sharp gains over the last 6 months when the market had been rallying, and it was actually trading at a 52-week high, just above $19 for this event. When the event hit the wire, we did see some pretty sharp downward pressure in shares. They bottomed out right around 15. Since then, we've seen a little bit of a bounce, but that's a pretty sharp pullback. That's about 25% going from above $19 to $15. So they definitely took a hit on the news.
So do we know where they're at in regard to their trading range?
Yeah, their 52-week range is $19 to $13.50, so they're about $2 off their 52-week low, and that would be their key support level moving forward is $13.46, and that's the 52-week low.
And so what kind of damage do you think to the momentum picture this news is going to do going forward?
Well, in terms of momentum, they've definitely suffered a setback here. The question is going to be what's the market's longer-term view on the fundamental picture? And Tracy will get into that a little bit more. But from a momentum perspective, this definitely took the wind out of the sails of the momentum people because they were looking strong previous to this event. They had the 52-week high, and this is definitely a setback for the momentum.
Yeah, so Tracy, this news that broke on the company, along with all of the consolidation in that particular industry lately, right, I'm sure doesn't paint a pretty picture. What did their picture look like fundamentally before the news?
Well, they are kind of doing a turnaround. The whole entire industry took a real hit during the recession, there's no doubt. But some of them have been starting to come out of it now because advertising is coming back and they've gotten rid of some of their not as well performing properties. News Corp is trying to make somewhat of a transition from being more of newspapers more into just the more mass media. Yeah. They had this bid in for the British Sky broadcasting unit, which they already own 39% of, but that they have withdrawn given everything that's happening, and they don't believe they could get it through the right regulatory people in Great Britain right now. Yep. So that's a little bit of a blow because that would have been a $12 billion deal, and they wanted to have the bigger expansion into cable, satellite, all these things. But the newspapers weren't making them that much money before this. They closed down News of the World right away when this happened. That was only 1% of their revenue. They do have still the flagship Wall Street Journal, but until nothing is going on with that newspaper. So the actual impact of it on their overall business hasn't been big so far.
Okay, and going forward?
Well, that remains to be seen because we don't know where this could spread to or if it will. For right now, like I said, it seems to be contained. The estimates for the year are holding where they were before this broke. They're going to make about what they made in 2007, but they are on the more upward track. It's supposed to be about a 15% earnings growth over last year. So you kind of have to wait and see as an investor how everything's going to shake out. If it spreads to some of their other properties, especially into the United States, that could be more problematic. So far, Rupert Murdoch is still at the helm, so you don't have a change in leadership. So I think investors just kind of have to wait and see where it plays out, and I think you're kind of seeing that in the share price and with the estimates just holding for here.
And what are the analysts saying about it?
Not much either. There's,
they are conspicuous by their absence.
They are. I was surprised. They're also just kind of waiting to see. They did come out when they closed down the News of the World and said, it's only 1% of the revenue, so we're not concerned that this is going to impact them pretty much whatsoever for the overall business. But I think they're even waiting to see kind of what shakes out with these hearings over in London and then what might happen with some investigations over here in the United States.
All right, well, it's going to be an interesting story here to keep tabs on, to say the least.
Yeah.
And with Tracy and Mike talking about the news on News Corp, I'm Terry Ruffalo.